so today we're going to take notes on solving quadratics. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that. Today we're going to solve quadratics and rationals. You're going to put your name, period, and date. Make sure you title your paper as Solving Quadratics and Rationals. Yesterday, we practiced, or today, how to solve using radicals when they were simple, when it was just addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So now we're going to go a little bit, not too complicated, but back to quadratics. So if I have the square root of x plus 5 minus 3 is equal to x, you need to solve for x. What would be the first thing that you would do? You can't square yet. You have to get rid of the minus 3. So you're going to add 3 to both sides. When you add 3 to both sides, you're still left with the square root of x plus 5 is equal to x plus 3. Okay, now what would you do? We have isolated the radical. Remember from our notes before, you always want to isolate the radical. The radical is the square root symbol. So in this case, our radical is by itself. So now we need to square both sides. Once you undo the square, then you have to solve for x. Okay, this is from our notes from yesterday. So now that I have the square root of x plus 5 isolated, I'm going to square both sides of the equation. Now, I'm not just going to square the 3, I'm going to square x plus 3. Okay, what happens on the left side with the square root symbol?
Foil.
Huh? Foil? No. On the left
No,
side.
on the right side.
Okay, on the left side, these cancel each other out, and all you're left with x plus 5 is equal to, okay, and just like you were saying, you're going to FOIL. That means x plus 3 squared is x plus 3 times itself twice. Okay, what I'd like you guys to do is FOIL. Now, some of you guys like the box method, which is totally fine with me. Use box method or FOIL, whatever you feel more comfortable with, but I'm going to do box method. This is way back when from quadratics, right? So it's kind of a review. What is x times x? X squared. What's 3 times x? 3x. And then what's x times 3? 3x. And finally, 3 times 3 is 9. So you're going to combine the like terms. What is 3x plus 3x? Is 6x. 3x plus 3x is equal 6x. You're adding them, yeah, and then plus 9. Okay, that's one way of doing it, the box method, or you can do, what's it called, FOIL. X times x gives you x squared. X times 3 gives you 3x. 3 times x gives you 3x. And 3 times 3 gives you 9. Okay, you combine the like terms. So you have x plus 5 is equal to x squared plus 3x plus 3x plus 9. So this becomes x plus 5 is equal to x squared plus 6x plus 9. I need all the variables on one side. So what would you need to move over?
X.
Yeah, you're going to subtract x and you're going to subtract 5. I'm going to do them both at the same time. Okay? So I'm going to subtract 1x and write it right underneath the 6x. And then the 5, I'm subtracting it from my constant. So I'm going to put it right under the 9. Does this confuse you guys? No. No, it's just like regular addition and subtraction. You know when you're in elementary school, they always told you to line up your digits? Okay, this is why. What is x minus x? X minus x is 0. 5 minus 5 is? Remember, this is 5 minus a negative 5. They both, 5 minus 5 just gives you 0. So these cancel, and you're left with 0 is equal to x squared. What's 6x minus 1x?
5x.
Listen and pay attention. You should be writing this down. 6x minus 1x is?
5x.
5x. And what's 9 minus 5?
4x.
So now here comes step 4 when you're solving quadratics in radicals. You need to factor and solve. Remember, for a warm-up, we said, what two numbers can you multiply together to get 4 whose sum is 5? You guys remember that? It's a long time ago. When I showed it to you like that, you guys were able to do it, okay? So you're going to do your CB table. Okay, good. So for your C, remember this is AX squared plus BX plus C. So your value for C is 4, and what's your value for B? 5. Okay, so what numbers can you multiply together so that they add up to B? 1. 1 times 4, and 2 times 2, right? What's 1 plus 4? 5. So ding, 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 ding. We found our answer. What's 2 plus 2? 4, and that's not correct. So my factors are going to be a positive 1 and a positive 4. So you have x plus 1 and x plus 4. When you multiply these two numbers together and FOIL, you go back to the original. Is equal to 0. Okay, so now you have two answers. You have two possibilities. You have x plus 1 is equal to 0, and x plus 4 is equal to 0. Can you go ahead and solve for x? Easy, right? If you want to get x by itself, what would you need to get rid of? 1. The plus 1, so you do the opposite, which is to subtract. So x is equal to negative 1. On the other side, what do you need to get rid of? 4. The 4, so you're going to subtract 4 from both sides. What's 0 minus 4? Negative 4 is equal to x. These are your two solutions, possibly. Okay, so now you need to see if they're real or extraneous. You have your check. So to finish this example, we need to check to see if it's real or extraneous solutions. You're going to go back to your original problem. Okay, so we're checking to see if the square root of x plus 5 minus 3 is equal to x. What am I going to substitute in for x? Negative 1. Good. So we're going to have negative 1, and everything else stays the same. So you have the square root of negative 1 plus 5 minus 3, and the question is that equal to negative 1? What's negative 1 plus 5? What's the square root of 4? 2. And then what's 2 minus 3? Negative 1. Is negative 1 equal to what's on the right side? Yes. Yeah, negative 1 is equal to negative 1, so that is one real solution.
So Miss, what if you don't have a real solution? You check the other one, and the other?
Yeah, you always check both solutions. Okay. So now you're going to substitute in, instead of a negative 1, you're going to substitute in negative 4. So you have the square root of negative 4 plus 5 minus 3. And the question is that equal to negative 4? What is negative 4 plus 5?
Negative 1.
Positive 1. What's the square root of positive 1? 1. What's 1 minus 3?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. Is negative 2 equal to the right side? To negative 4? No. So this is what type of solution? Extraneous. So So it's one real and one extraneous. So the real solution is the one that actually we keep, and the other one we kind of throw out, okay? Okay, so problem number 2, you have the square root of x minus 1 plus 3. The first thing you want to do is isolate the radical. So we need to subtract 3 from both sides. You are left with x minus 1 is equal to x minus 3. Okay, you want to square both sides. So I'm going to square both sides of my equation, but I have to make sure that I square the whole thing, x minus 3. On the left side, it gets rid of my radical sign, and I'm left with x minus 1, and now I have to figure out what is x minus 3 times x minus 3. Your box method gives you x times x, which gives you x squared. Negative 3 times x gives you negative 3x. And x times a negative 3 gives you a negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9. So you're going to combine the like terms and rewrite this. X squared minus 6x plus 9. Okay, if you don't like the box method, you can use FOIL. FOIL means that you're just going to multiply x times x. Gives you x squared. X times negative 3 gives you negative 3x. Negative 3 times x gives you negative 3x. And negative 3 times a negative 3 gives you a positive 9. You still need to combine like terms. So your new equation is x minus 1 is equal to x squared minus 6x plus 9. And if you notice, it's the same thing as the box method. Okay, whichever method you prefer, that's the one you can use. You want to get all the variables onto the same side. So I'm going to subtract x and add 1. This cancels into 0. X minus x is equal to 0, and negative 1 plus 1 is equal to 0. So then you have x squared minus 7x plus 10. Now you have to do your CB table. What are the factors of 10 that add up to negative 7? Are there any?
Yes.
What are they?
2 and negative 5.
Yeah, if we multiply, let's say 5 times 2, I know 5 times 2 is 10. And if I add them together, I get positive 7. So then our next hint is to multiply two negative numbers together. Negative 5 plus a negative 2 equals to a negative 7. These two are my factors. So my factors are going to be 0 equals to x minus 5 and x plus, minus 2. So now you have to check your answers. X minus 5, not check, you have to solve for x. X minus 5 is equal to 0 and x minus 2 is equal to 0. You add 2 to both sides and you're left with x is equal to 2 as a solution. And then you're left with x is equal to 5 as another solution. Now we get to the check part. We go back to our original equation, which is the square root of x minus 1 plus 3 is equal to x. Okay, I'm going to substitute in 5 wherever I see an x. So is it true that the square root of 5 minus 1 plus 3 is equal to 5? What is 5 minus 1? 4. What's the square root of 4? 2. And then 2 plus 3 is 5. So are they equal to the right side? So what type of solution is it? It's a real solution. And right before I run out of time,